it smells so terrible. What the hell was that? Something large just moved over there. Don't think I ever looked inside this side here. Ooh, look at that. Those of you who've been following my channel for over a year probably do remember this location. Those of you who are new here for the first time, well, I present to you what I have called the abandoned mobile home graveyard. A location that I found accidentally back in 2023 just by riding some trails. And all these mobile homes are actually full of contents. And that video came out, there were a lot of thoughts, theories, and questions about why they're here, why everything is still inside. Well, coincidentally enough, on my way here, I did run into the owner, got some of those questions answered. I'm going to share them with you later in the video. If you want to see what it's like 1 year later, all you got to do is come along with me. Now before we do continue, I do want to take a moment to talk about something. Throughout the last 2 years since I started reviewing e-bikes, I do get a lot of questions sent to me via email, Facebook Messenger, and comments under the videos. And obviously I can't answer them all, but I do get a lot of requests about how bikes are holding up after a certain amount of time. So I wanted to briefly talk to you about the Hubsco Hub Alpha step-through e-bike, a bike that I first reviewed back in 2022. And as you can see, it's still holding up, still performing as it should. And just want to give you just a couple quick specs about it and let you know how I use it, why I use it, and why I still have it. So this does have a 48 volt, 20 amp hour Samsung battery right inside here. It powers a rear 750 watt motor that peaks out at 1000 watts. It has hydraulic disc brakes. And the biggest feature for me that I enjoy the most is the torque sensor, which is the most realistic form of pedaling you could get to a traditional bike, but this one has a motor to assist you. And this has been a great performer. It's got the large 26 by 4 inch fat tires. It can handle a heavy payload, but it's not my daily driver, not my daily rider. The reason being is just because it is a big bike. I don't need a bike this big all the time. I only use this when I need to go to either more remote locations or an area where I need taller, bigger tires, like here with the tall, high grass. This is much more suitable than a bike with a 20-inch wheel. So this is only used sparingly by me, but it's actually used more regularly by my daughter Lily. She's actually claimed it for herself. She enjoys riding it. We do a lot of bike rides, and this is the one that she rides nearly every time we go. So although I don't use it all that often, I use it maybe 4 or 5 times out of the year, she uses it almost weekly, if not more. So it's been holding up really well. I just want to let you know that there were some things I didn't like about it when it came out, and namely being that it didn't come with fenders, no tail light or brake light, and no USB charging port. Now they do have a newer version of this released here for 2024 that does come with fenders, but I'm not sure if they did add a USB port or a brake light. But it does come with fenders now. But I do love the step-through design, and it's got plenty of power, and just as a beast of a bike, it's been holding up really well, and I really don't have many complaints about it other than what I already listed. So if you do want to get more information about this bike and see what the newest one looks like and what it has to offer and the latest pricing, I will have a link provided down below in the description. But with that being said, let's check out some of these abandoned mobile homes. Obviously, it's not the right time of year to come and explore, but As you can see by the overgrowth, things are reclaiming. Not the ideal time of year to come, but I had some availability and wanted to come just briefly show you how they're holding up. And I can already tell they're definitely in worse condition 1 year later. And there's, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 7, maybe 8 of them here. They're still numbered, still have lighting. And from what I heard from the comments, excuse me, a lot of people said these are dated from like the 70s to the 80s. Most of them at least. Maybe 1 or 2 a little bit earlier or a little bit later. I don't believe this tree was downed here last time. And there is somebody else walking around here too. I'm not sure if it's someone related to the property owner or not. Now these were pretty sketchy last time I was here, so obviously they're going to be in even worse condition now. And there's Elmo. I believe we saw him last time. The amount of mold coming off of these is pretty pungent. It's like a punch in the face. This one is collapsing in on itself. And looks like part of the floor fell off from underneath right there. I did like the powder blue color scheme on that one. And not only are they sketchy and unsafe, but per the owner's request, I'm not going to go inside, but able to check them out at least. But it seems like someone has been here. And actually he did state that a lot of kids do come here and climb on them and root around, and he doesn't want anyone to get hurt, understandably. But there is a story to these. But as we can see, they are full. And that's kind of an understatement. There's that floor buffer right there. No rhyme or reason as to what's in here. It's a mishmash of stuff, and there's a reason for that. This is terrible condition. It went downhill fast. This one still has steps going up to it, a little platform, but it's leaning, and like I said, the smells are pretty bad. You may see a woman walking in the background. That was actually the owner's wife. She's cutting some trees, making a fort for the grandkids. I was talking to her for about 10-15 minutes, and really nice people. Like, they are completely understanding. They're like, you know, we can't really stop everyone from coming here, but I was honest with them. What I was doing is about, you know, riding the e-bike here, getting some shots of it, and just checking this out. And I learned a good bit of information from both of them, but they are allowing me to be here and just to be careful, be safe. They don't want to see me get hurt, obviously, but we're going to keep looking around while we're able to, and then towards the end I'm going to share what I did learn from both of them, because it is a bit fascinating from what I learned. I mean, some of the thoughts and theories and speculation were on target, I guess you could say. Some were way off, but that's still to come. Let's keep exploring. See this one here, the tree started growing underneath, growing right out the end of it here, and you can see some of the accents, the star designs there, or crosses, look like stars. I think most of these are made out of aluminum too. Like I said, that one was my favorite, at least color-wise. And you could tell they've been here for a long, long time, just based on the looks of it. I mean, that tree is growing right through the hitch area there of the frame. But I'm surprised how much they've gone downhill in just 1 year. This one here, I remember, had some old Halloween decorations in them. Literally chest height bushes here. I'm hoping there's no snakes. This one was pretty bad, but you can still see. Now, my early speculation when I first discovered these is that this was people's contents left behind, which not to say it's not, but there's more to it than just that. Especially when you see some of these as just boxes thrown upon each other and really random items that you normally wouldn't see inside a mobile home or a trailer or even a home in general. But it makes sense now that I found out why. See, these weeds are really high here. We're doing a full tick check later. Let's see if we can get inside, a better look inside some of them here. A few of them have some open doors and windows, and we'll just kind of glance around a little bit more than what we already did, just to kind of fully document them, because they're just going to get worse and worse as the years go on, and at some point they're either going to just deteriorate on themselves or they're going to have to be removed. But it smells so terrible. You'd have to have a respirator to go inside now. I mean, it smelled last time, but it's way worse this time. Oh yeah, so this one is completely ripped open here. And this is the one that I said looks like it has content that should not be inside. What the hell is that? Something large just moved over there. Hopefully that was a deer. But there are some machinery here and attachments. There's a front end bucket right here from like a garden tractor. There's piles of insulation. Can't really see what's in the rest of it. But like I said, stuff like that you wouldn't normally store in a home. I do like coming this time of year though, because they're kind of hidden, and it's like a little treasure hunt trying to find out where one ends and the next one begins, as nature is definitely reclaiming this property. That would have been probably the furnace right there, maybe water heater. And yeah, I do remember this one with the double. What the hell? Sounds like Bigfoot. The thing is knocking down trees, whatever the hell it is. Thankfully I am carrying protection, so hopefully it keeps its distance. This is the double sliding doors, like the patio doors. The broken glass here, it's all shattered. But there were some unique items inside these. That one's a chateau right there. Microwave oven. And like a deli slicer right there. Yeah, it's all aluminum. Covered wagon. Bike helmet. Kiwi. It's like a log cabin right there. I don't think I ever looked inside this side here. Ooh, look at that. Tell me that's not creepy. I'm guessing somebody propped that there so that when they open the door, they instantly saw that. Looks like it'd be a haunted doll from a movie. But they were saying these places are infested with rats, snakes, mice. I believe it. This one here is basically a wall of windows. Would have been a nice view from inside. A lot of natural light be able to come through. Yeah, those two, not a whole lot to see. And I was talking to them too, saying, you know, these all have a story to tell about who used to live in them, where they came from. Number 272642. This is from 1972. That's not livable conditions like that, obviously. But it's a mixture of things left behind, things placed in here. Nature gives to every time and seasons some beauties of its own. AMF Scorcher. I remember seeing this last time. It was laying in a different area. Inside here is sinks in there. Looks like a tub. It's probably part of the bathroom. And it's just slowly sinking in on itself. Based on what you see, obviously this is 1972. Are a majority of these from the 70s? Or some of them 80s? I think it's a mixture of both, but looking at them now, since they're all really similar style, I am thinking most of them are the 70s. Oh, look at what I just spotted in the window here. Little Easter egg. Little pickup truck. I think that's maybe a Chevy. Adjustable stair rail system. That must be like a chairlift for steps. I have you guys sitting inside one of the mobile homes here. So when this first video came out, there's a lot of thoughts, theory, speculation, questions. The questions I had, questions other people had is, number one, why are they here? Are they from a local trailer park? Is it the actual people's contents left behind? If so, why were they left behind? Why weren't they able to clear it out? And why are they in this condition today? And some of the things that were shared is that maybe these were repossession or foreclosed on. Maybe failure to pay taxes or land property. And that the landlord or owner seized them and placed them here. And one of the thoughts I came up with towards the end of the video, as I saw more and more of the contents here, is that these may have been purchased for storage, as like a storage unit. But the thing that didn't make sense to me is the fashion in which they're placed here. There's no orderly fashion. They're just placed here randomly. So typically when I've seen properties or people having storage units, whether it be like tractor trailers, or homes or whatever it is, or even Connex containers, they are usually lined up or organized somewhat so you can easily get from one to another. Where here they're just kind of placed here randomly. Well, what I found out briefly from the gentleman who was walking through with his grandkids, that these were placed here intentionally. Turns out the wife of the owner I was speaking to, her uncle owned these at one time, and he purchased them solely for the purpose of storage. He was a bit of a hoarder. So the contents inside, not to say that none of it is from the people that lived in them, most of it though is from him just placing items in here. So that's why there's no rhyme or reason as to what we see. Like the one has the front end bucket of a loader. This one has a deli slicer. Others have chairlift and clowns and other things. I mean, it is a big variety of stuff. But he was a bit of a collector, a hoarder, and he bought these solely for storing his items. So these were not lived in for a long, long time. Like probably since the 80s at the latest when they were lived in, if at all. Because a lot of these came from the 70s. She said they've been here for decades. So they're here probably over 30 years at least. But he passed away. It was left to his 2 sons. They didn't want anything to do with it. And it's still here today because obviously it's a big mess to clean up. It would cost some money to bring some equipment in here, dumpsters, to remove these. That's why they're still here today. But they did say though that kids do come here and climb around, break windows, and they don't want anyone to get hurt. It is ultimately private property, but it's just sitting here being left to the elements. Mother Nature is reclaiming. Now, with the contents inside, I'm sure there are some gems or some valuable items, but it's safely being able to extract them, uncovering stuff. And mostly that you walk into, you're going to fall through the floor. So they have to kind of be dismantled from the shell, you know, on the outside, working your way in to be able to get through stuff. So they don't know what's going to happen as to how long they're going to be here. It could be another decade. It could be less than that. Just depends on if the property itself gets sold off or somebody decides to come and maybe want to do something with them. But now we have confirmation that they were not part of a compound here. That was another thought or theory. And that they haven't been lived in for a long time. And 90% of the items, if not more, were from the uncle who just bought these strictly for storage. He didn't live in them. He didn't really do much with them once he placed the items in here. He was just a person that didn't want to get rid of stuff. He saw value in things. And now it's left in the condition that we see it. But I just want to say that the owners were really polite and gracious enough to allow me to come here. I was upfront with them saying I was coming here to get some footage of my bike, and that I did find this place last year, and that I just want to get some pictures and do an update. So they said, just be careful. We don't want to see you get hurt. And we're able to share the information that they did with me. So I was really happy about that. But I'm going to snap a few pictures, roll a photo montage for you, and then we'll pick back up. I'm inserting this in the middle of the video because I was actually coming around to get some pictures, and I realized I missed a opportunity to show you more of this. This one here is pretty open, and it looks a bit altered. That's because this used to have doors right here. And as we peer on the inside, it looks like at one time it was a workshop. There's actually quite a bit of tools in here. I do see looks like a weed trimmer up there. Some type of engine sitting on the desk there. Little nuts and bolts trays, wiring. More helmets, rocking horse. Play school microwave refrigerator. Yamaha fender or a seat. Looks like a seat. Gun rack right there, I believe. And a old school telephone with the recorder for the answering machine. There's a date on that wonder. General Electric Made in Singapore. I just found it rather fascinating. I'm even seeing some Fisher Price or Play School fishing poles. A lot of random stuff. But a glimpse into what was going on here. But again, they altered this. They had on 2 doors. One's laying on the ground with the notch so they could put a board behind it to kind of lock them up. So that was our 1-year update on the abandoned mobile home graveyard, a place that I find really fascinating because all these locations do tell a story. At one time, they did come from another location. They were probably lived in. Some of the contents left behind are probably from the residents that lived in them. And today, it's just another story to tell that was passed down to family members who no longer want to take on the responsibility of cleaning up this mess. But nature is reclaiming, and as we've seen, it's only getting worse. It's only going to continue to get worse. Not only with the overgrowth around it, trees falling on them, but the mold, the mildew, the deterioration, the decay, it's only getting worse. And if anyone was to step inside, most likely you are going to get hurt. I didn't even want to press my luck today, even trying to go in, because it just was that bad looking and that dangerous. So we now had confirmation as to what took place, why they're here, why it's so full of contents. Don't forget, if you would like to get more information on the Oscuro Hub Alpha, check that link down below. And if you haven't seen my first video here, that'll be linked down below as well. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.